So if you guys are just joining us, welcome to This Week in Ragnarok. CM Oda here. I know the note says with Campator, but I need to update that. Campator is super busy, so I've been solo for a little bit on these videos. So hope you guys are having a nice week. We had a gigantic update just within this last month, bringing level 175, job level 60 to our renewal server, and we're hard at work at adding some fun new stuff for Classic as well. And for this week, we've got a couple of contests coming to an end. Let me get that PowerPoint document loaded up for you. Alright, we had a holiday pop-up card contest, pretty cool. Let's get that started. Let me know if it starts hitching up. I've tried playing around with the settings a little bit. It should not be as bad as it used to be. Alright, let me get that size down a little bit. This was our holiday pop-up card contest. We had people sending in cards from all over the place. We got a couple cards in the mail and people posted cards up in the thread. So I'm kind of showing off the winners of the contest. These were the entries that we had, just some fantastic kind of like 3D artwork. For the homemade category, one of the winners is this fantastic one by Tigra. It's a kind of a diorama scene from Ludi, which we all like quite a bit. Get a little bit more light in here. For the semi-handmade, we have this one by Crispy, very cool. You've got the different kinds of crystals and sort of the gift boxes and different in-game items that sort of represent them color-wise. For semi-handmade, the other winner for that one is this fantastic box, kind of like a 3D, opens up like a flower, fantastic entry here. Quang1248 with one of the other homemade winners, this beautiful Christmas scene. Hey, Sagittarius Sirius, is the stream a little bit better for you this week? And those are our entries for that contest. Really like that quite a bit. Special thanks to Tatiana for administering that, kind of creating that contest and encouraging people. Her card came in last week, and we all loved it so much. We put the cards that we received up in our little display of stuff. Our next contest was the wanted posters. We had a group of community judges. I think that went pretty well. So we'll go over some of the entries. This just shows some of the criteria for entering and judging the contest. Just as a little bit of background, so let me turn off the chat for a sec so you guys can see, or maybe let me resize a little bit. So since this was a writing contest, everything was judged on Not necessarily the graphic design, but sort of having very clever flavored text. And so some of these are just absolutely fantastic for that. And some of them happen to look good too. Critical Assassins entry. The former one was Carrot Sticks. Anonymous number 4. Murillo Hideo 1 says, will you speak about the new skills update? Yes. Along with level 175, we also have new skills for the third class characters, including one that every one of the 3-1 and 3-2 characters can pick up, called Full Throttle. You can only use a skill every 50 minutes pretty much, and it gives you a temporary, it basically restores your health and your SP. It gives you a buff for all your stats, but afterwards, you have a debuff. So it's kind of like a get out of jail card that you can use, once in a while when you get really stuck. So for our winners, this one is by Necroheliac. This one is by Teacup Lane. After having watched Slayers last week, the wonderful anime series, which, by the way, that video, you guys will not see that up. That will not be allowed to live on YouTube, unfortunately. But I think the sexy ancient lips on this particular fishman definitely struck a chord with the judges. And of course, who does not love the Magnolia, one of the strangest monsters in Rune Midgard? So they like that quite a bit, and so do we. So those are the winners for our 2 contests that we had going on. We always have some kind of fun event going on, so keep an eye on the forums. And to continue the thing about the skills update, we've posted a little bit of information about each class's new skill. I think there's a couple I still need to put up on the site, but we'll be getting that updated pretty soon. But yeah, it's totally in. It has begun. So when I said that I was going to do a little bit of cooking, I'd been doing a little bit of cooking for sort of Hanukkah themed foods. Let's see if you guys can see this here. I don't want this to fly off, but on your right here I have a little bit of potato latkes. These are just made up from a mix. It's basically like a potato croquette. Basically, because Hanukkah is all about the oil, a lot of fried dishes are involved traditionally, so very tasty stuff. On your left here, I have a little bit of homemade kugel. I don't even know if this is in focus or not. That's all right. This homemade kugel, it's kind of like a bread pudding, but it uses noodles, egg noodles. And so we've got raisins, egg noodles, tons of sugar, cinnamon, lots of good stuff, butter, tremendously unhealthy, but it's a traditional Jewish delicacy, very popular around Hanukkah time. So I thought I'd share those. It was a ton of fun to make them. Just doing a ton of cooking yesterday. All right, so let's talk about what we've got coming in for this week's maintenance. We will be adding the classic Christmas quest this week. Since we do not have costume items on classic, we wanted to get a classic specific item for those folks. So yeah, let me just head to the middle of Ludi here and just kind of hang out a little bit. You have a little bit of information on here, so you should see that come up in the Twitch chat. Okay, let's see. Let me run quickly through what else we have going on for Classic Server this week. It's the anniversary of Final Fantasy I on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Have to see if anybody has one that we can actually bring in and maybe do a little bit of playing this week, maybe for our Friday live show. We've got a whole bunch of changes to early level, low-level monsters, changing up how they drop. We want to make it easier for low-level classes to get some of those equipments on Classic, so we're changing up the drops a little bit. This is an ongoing project. We're going to be modifying the drops for a lot of these monsters over the next few weeks. On renewal, Classic, we're also testing out endgame instances. Basically, the Nidhogger's Nest instance, we're looking at putting on Classic Server towards the end of the year. If testing goes well, we're just taking a look at things. We should also have the Christmas Challenge Dungeon, basically like a high-level place for players to level, coming in this week as well. On renewal server, we're going to be adding in the Boxster, who'll be taking, or we will be updating the Boxster to take items from this last lucky box. We're also going to be adding in a VIP NPC that'll provide warps to the entry NPC for the Biolabs 4 instance. So it'll be a little easier for players who've already completed all the quests needed to get to Biolabs, to get to that dungeon, to get back. So the spotlight is also changing to the new world. That'll include monsters from Mora and some of the New World locations. We'll have a list up. So that'll be coming in on renewal, and for Classic, we're going to be having a Hugel spotlight. So that'll include maps like Abyss Lake and Thanatos Tower. For renewal, we're also going to be adding in a Hugel bounty board. So some of the monsters from the Hugel area, you'll be able to hunt and get EXP in exchange. Also for the shadow items, you get enchanting stones when you sort of turn them in, recycle the ones you don't want. We're going to have a stone recycler, so you can trade in 3 stones that you don't want for 1 stone that you do want. So a lot of people have been asking for that option. So that's what is happening for the maintenances this week. If we add new stuff, we'll of course put it onto the list when we'll put it into the maintenance thread if any changes are made. So let's get down to the Hanukkah Happy Hour live show for 12/16 questions. Answer questions from the community. Necroheliac is first. He says, I love latkes and matzo ball soup, which I do as well. A couple of questions. Can you increase the quest mobs for the holiday quest? The other maps are huge and makes hunting anywhere except Santa Goblins pretty time consuming. Yes. You know, when we got the quest from Caro, it was originally going to be one Christmas monster of each type on the maps, and we actually multiplied that up to 5 when we put it in. So it would have been even harder to find the monsters if we had left it by default. So actually, I think we can double that, at least 10 of each kind of the monsters to help people hunt those. Also, can you look into the Mora daily quest? It doesn't award job EXP. If you're 50 or higher, every little bit of EXP helps. Sure, we can take a look at that. Fuyuki-kun says, please fix third class, the class-specific hats. Please, please. We will work on that soon. You know, we've got a lot of stuff on Classic and Renewal that we have to clear out, and those are always a priority. Zero Tigress says, remove the following monsters from the following boards. Basically, with the level 175 update, the locations of some of the monsters have changed, so we're just updating the bounty boards. You know, if the monster's no longer in that area, we'll swap them out. And she has also provided some suggestions for future bounty boards, and we can definitely get those put in pretty soon. All right. Bloody Rascal says, can you please make Costume Santa Pouring Hat enchantable? It's the cutest pouring hat ever. Also, it has max level golden aura. That one, not too sure if we're able to do that, but for the second one, also the costume doesn't show up in the character select window even though it's equipped. That's usually an issue with the way that Caro has set the game. It's not something that we're able to modify on this end, but we can let them know about it. There are some fixes we want to get before then, though. Necroheliac says, will there be a crate option for the December box? I was under the impression that Lucky Boxes would have a crate deal. We're not able to do a crate for all of our boxes. Recently, we have to get multiple boxes from Caro so we can have one box inside of the other box. But it's been a little difficult to get those more recently, so we've just been putting in, trying to keep them reasonably priced, and just putting in the 300-point boxes. Also, you mentioned that you're fixing Janeway's Elder Willow Warp due to the spawn changes. Her Savage Warp has never worked. Can you fix that as well? Yes, I think we can get those Janeway issues started. Razez says, can you add blue pots to the list of buy shop items? I'm pretty sure that we put that in a couple weeks ago. I can check, but I think that is already in. Is Daily Quinn ever returning? It would be nice to see him about now. Daily Quinn is actually not a bad idea. The main problem with Daily Quinn was it was an NPC that you talk to, and they'd kind of give you stuff, and every day you keep coming back. He'd give you better and better stuff. The problem is that we had an issue where players would just spend all their time logging in all their characters to get the stuff, and then they'd be like, I'm too tired to play. So it's a little more likely. I've always wanted to do a daily quest. Honestly, it's kind of like what Janeway is, basically, where you complete a quest, you get a bonus. And so, you know, every day you'd have an incentive to come back and do another quest. So at least there's kind of like you have to do something to earn a reward component of it. Also, if you haven't tried matzo brie, it's really good. It's sort of like a frittata using matzo crackers. I haven't tried it, but it does look pretty darn good. Fuyuki-kun says, will Homunculus S level go to 175? That usually depends on what Caro has. If they've put it in, we'll eventually get it. But if they have not put it in, we probably would not be able to receive it. Although it'd make more sense if it would go up to 175, so that is something that we will ask about. Archie W says, hi Oda, could we get something like safe certificates to 7 for shadow equipment? People bought them with cash and it's so ridiculously hard just to make it 7. If it is broken, then it is like people are just burning their cash for nothing. It's possible for the future, but we don't have any plans for that right now. I mean, they're pretty useful items, but we'll have to see. Viri says, any news on recycling the costume, headgear, and chant stones? Yes, we're going to be adding... I'm not sure if we're adding an NPC or if we're adding the functionality to an existing NPC. But that should be coming in this week. Let's see. Hikari Yari says, when will Classic get the Xmas event? This week. Necolandia says, is the spotlight going to change next maintenance? It will actually be this week. So yes, it will be changing this week. Sizzle Boom asks, when is the Jumping Janeway event going to end? She'll be departing January 14th. So if you guys have characters that you're getting started, you might want to get them leveled up before then, but it gives you a chance to get those characters leveled up before the holidays are over. Biara asks, can Bio 2, 3, and 4 have its own map zone? We have the issue where if a lot of super crowded maps are on the same zone server, you know, there's a performance hit. You know, it'd be like if you have a woe zone and you have, you know, turn-ins on the same zone, you'd actually, you know, be getting a poorer frame rate. The second question they ask is if it would be possible to keep the Biolabs or the Lighthausen EXP bonus for the Spotlight, even if it's going away. We're not able to keep those boosted. We're not able to modify things for a permanent event, but we would be able to have things like a bounty board quest that kind of improves the amount of EXP that you're getting when you're turning in kill quests. The question number 3 is, will there be any sort of EXP event? We don't have anything planned. We might be doing some VIP bonuses, maybe like reduced death penalty and things like that. Next question is, can we have a challenge dungeon similar to Golden Scarba for plus 150 priests, where they can punch the face of undead monsters? Bounty kill counts go with that would be great too. Definitely possible. If you have suggestions for monsters that you think would be a good fit to get scaled up and be made into sort of classic style spotlight or challenge dungeon monsters, we definitely can do that. The question, let's see. The Mesmerist will be staying until, I think that's a typo, I responded in February. I believe it'll be in until January 14th or somewhere thereabouts. So you have about a month or so to get a free reset. The NPC is in the Eden group. And so if you talk to the NPC, they'll give you a free stat and skill reset. So if you're changing your build around for 175, you can definitely do that. Tato Clien says, any progress on the 175 expanded class level cap? We have not received any replies from Karo on that yet, but we're continuing to ask them about being able to make some of the expanded class characters go up to 175. Can you give a shout out about the XP boost come from the costume boys cap and costume goggles? Yes, we have some of the headgears from the Allura costume box, or items that you can turn into the character Allura. On the second floor of the Eden group, you give her an upgraded version of the hat, and she'll be able to give you a costume version of that. They've got a EXP bonus put onto there, so if you're looking for a costume that gives a little bit more, you can check that out. So those are the questions that I have for this week's show. So I'm just answering some questions in game, don't mind me. Sorry, should have had a little bit of BGM music on. It was a little quiet. Snow Villers asks, I'm also confused, how do you get the information to release to us via email or something? Yes, we basically, there's a development team, there's the global team, and there's us. The global team is a group that communicates to the development team, and they then communicate to like JRO and JRO, us, and all the different versions of RO around. And basically we request things to them, they pass the request on to the dev team. They kind of keep things organized. They try to make sure that the different branches are aware of what the other branches are doing. So whenever I say something like we're waiting to hear back, it's because we've emailed the global team and they're talking with the development team. Sometimes the development team does not get back to them, and so we have to remind them again. But that's usually how that works. Snowpin says, are there any plans set in to fix some of the lag? I've been trying to do my Ranger test for a while now, and I can't seem to finish the plants part because of the random server lag. There are different tricks to get around that. If you can post a connection report on the forums, we have a special section for that. The title is like, oh, are you lagging? Post your trace route, which it's sort of like takes a route that your computer needs to go through to get to our servers. And it'll show if there are any problems on our servers or on servers in between with your connection. So that's oftentimes a good way of finding out if there's a problem. If you're definitely having problems with completing a test, I know that for things like the dancer test, some players are really having a problem with that. Scarab bounty board is definitely possible on renewal. Let's see. So that's pretty much what I have for questions in the thread. There are a few places that you can go to level if you're trying to get to level 175, but we definitely realize that there's not a ton of really great options available. So that's why we're pushing Kiro to get more content soon. One thing that's definitely possible is creating a sort of challenge map, a temporary event where we would boost up the stats of some monsters, boost up the amount of EXP that they give. That would make it a more appropriate challenge for level, 160 and up players. So that is something that is definitely possible for us to do. The Biolabs Challenge Dungeon is in, or the Biolabs 4 instance is in, so that's another popular place to level. So that's what I have for you guys this week. This Friday we're going to be doing another War Portal weekly show. We may have, probably we'll be playing a retro game, maybe watching some stuff. I have to see, but it's a fun show that CM Merida from RO2 and I do. Thursday I'll be doing an RO1 live stream. I think I'll be leveling my monk. Basically trying to get some characters through the Jumping Janeway quest to show it off to you guys. So our maintenance will be tomorrow at 9 o'clock, but for the final weeks of the month, the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's, we're going to be doing Tuesday maintenances instead of our regular Wednesday maintenances. So you guys will have to, please adjust your schedules accordingly. It'll be on December 23rd for next week. Wow, it's already coming up. What a busy few weeks. So this week we've got the first night of Hanukkah is tonight. Next week you have Christmas, and then the week after that you've got New Year's. Big holiday for the Japanese American community, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. So until then, I'd like to say aloha to you folks. Have a very happy Hanukkah. I'll have another thread posted up pretty soon for you guys to ask questions for next week. But until then, a Freilachen Hanukkah. Have a happy Hanukkah and see you guys later this week.